Hello, everybody. I'm excited to have you here with us today. And I'm so excited to have Morgan Anderson with Golden Lion Tax Solutions with me today. Thank you so much for joining me, Morgan.
Thank you for having me. Thank
Yes.
you.
So I met Morgan just recently, and I love her energy and enthusiasm for what she does. And everyone's going to be like, tax debt? How can you have energy and enthusiasm for that? But I thought she would be the perfect guest to bring on today, where we are having a month of scary, right? Like people, we're focusing on what things maybe scare you in business and things that you can overcome into your how to overcome kind of these scary things. And so, Morgan, I would love to kind of pick your brain on how we can take the scary out of tax debt resolution, getting out of that debt that you've gotten into. So I'm going to kind of just let you give us some tips and tidbits and share what you know about that.
Okay, so I understand I've been doing this for 23 years, and every single client that I've helped throughout that time frame has said, I can't sleep at night, I'm stressed, I get a letter from the IRS or from the state, and I'm afraid to open it. The best thing to do is realize that it's always a solution that can be solved. You just have to, as with everything else in life, put a little heat and light on it. One of the best things you can do is talk to your CPA, talk to a tax representation professional like our firm, and face it head on. Because if you are proactive, you get a lot more leeway from the taxing authorities, IRS or state, as you're trying to work towards a solution. If they feel like they have to come to you and chase you and eventually come knock on the door, come take money out of your bank accounts, they're not going to be as cooperative towards any time that you need to get everything in line to work on a solution. They'll be more aggressive. I know it's a scary situation, but the best thing to do is say, okay, I'm not going to sit on this. I'm not going to bury my head in the sand like an ostrich, because that's just going to let it mount up and up and up, and it gets worse and worse and worse. So best thing
So,
to do is just face it head on.
yeah. So have you seen in your years of experience with the IRS, um, I mean, I think there's a pretty good stigma around them, right? Like they are mean, they're scary, they just want my money. And I think I've noticed this, that they're willing to work with you as long as you get in there and are proactive and try your best. I mean, they're still gonna follow the rules and do everything, but if you're proactive, they're sometimes willing to cut some of the um, penalties and stuff like that. Have you noticed that?
So I've noticed that they're a lot easier to work with if we are proactive instead of waiting for them to come to us. You know, they have pretty strong guidelines that they have to operate within when it comes to penalties that have been charged, the interest, the total liability, consideration for settlement. There's a lot of hoops that you have to go through for that, and you have to qualify by the code. The code is, and the laws of the that govern the IRS are set by Congress. They're given an instruction manual basically of what their job is
They
as
have to
far as
follow these
collecting.
guidelines.
Absolutely. But if you are proactive and you come at it from an angle of problem solving, then they're a lot easier to work with versus if you ignore them, if you are rude, if you make them come after you versus you going to them. Now, I would caution, knowing what they can do and what they can't is a big part of the benefit of having somebody like us or somebody involved who knows basically the playbook
Yeah.
the IRS has to follow and the rules and regulations behind what they can and cannot do. That's there's a lot to it. There's a reason why there's people like us in the industry who have been doing it for so long. We have become experts in knowing what we can do, what nets the best results, what we can't do,
Yeah.
and not even wasting time pursuing a resolution that won't work.
That's why we come to people like you, right? Not don't waste our time. And
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something
And
I don't know.
expense.
Yeah, it's a
And
huge,
expense. Yeah.
absolutely. Well, that's awesome. So a question for you. So there's some big hype in the media right now around the hiring of what 89,000 new IRS auditors. I would love to
Yes.
get your take on this. Do you think it's something to be worried about? Like, you know, th- are we should we be worried and scared that we're going to be audited? And if so, like, what do we need to do to prepare for it?
Well, and thank you for bringing this up. There is this huge scare going on right now from all the media and both sides of the political parties. So let me just cut through the myth that I've been hearing, 80 some odd thousand agents with guns and badges, right? And they're going to go after every taxpayer that owes more than, you know, that are in middle income class, which can be pretty gray, right? So if any of you have tried calling the IRS recently, you call the 800 number, you sit on hold for an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. And at the 2 hour mark, you get booted out of the system. So you have to call back and start the process over again.
Well,
And that is
even
because,
on that, like you mail them something and it's 6 to 9 months
no,
before you hear back. So yeah,
absolutely.
like it's just very, very slow right now.
And that is all because they've been understaffed for so long. The government had that 35-day shutdown at the end of 2018 that bled into 2019. And during that time, a lot of the IRS's seasoned employees took early retirement, they left, and the IRS didn't have the funding to fill those desks again. And then you fast forward a little bit and you go into the COVID pandemic. They weren't allowed to work. A lot of them lost their jobs or left their jobs. All the mail was being put into tractor trailers and stacked in boxes in the cafeterias and the service centers. And they've gotten so far behind, they're understaffed, their technology is outdated. That's what all of this funding is for. That's what it's been earmarked for, to help restaff the IRS, right? Congress are the ones who have pushed for that because they're the ones who write the laws. They're the ones that set the IRS codes and the laws. And the IRS simply takes that instruction, implements it, and runs with it. And if you're understaffed with that, you're underpowered, you fall behind, you can't get caught back up. And then it leaves everybody, taxpayers, professionals, who may be calling to simply verify some information for a client, inefficient because we're sitting there on hold for so long or trying to get through to somebody, or we have a client who wants to resolve their tax situation and we can't get somebody on the phone.
Right.
So now they are earmarking some of the new staff for the examination division of the IRS, which is the division responsible for audits. But the audit numbers over the years have been dropping significantly every year. So it's not like they're taking it from what was the norm and saying, okay, let's add another 10,000 employees so that we can go after more people. They're just trying to staff back up to get back to a normal level.
Gotcha.
So
So they're
we
not quite
are,
so overworked and they'll actually be able to catch up eventually.
yes, exactly, exactly. And get it back to a normal standard that we had all been used to in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the early 2010s. It's getting the collection of the money needed for our nation to operate on a daily basis back to a normal level. So the best way to prepare for it and to insulate yourself from ever being vulnerable to a problem with an audit is record keeping. If you have a business, hire a great bookkeeper like yourself. Little plug.
Thank you. I appreciate
Um,
that plug.
but it's true. If you have somebody who can keep you organized, your records organized, make sure everything is reconciled, if the IRS or the state looks at it, they're not going to find a problem. So having that insurance in place should bring you a peace of mind that you don't care with the IRS, how many people they're hiring or what they're doing. Because if you get a letter, you have the team and the resources and the records in place to not have a problem.
Right. Be prepared so you don't have to worry, and don't keep your head in the sand like the ostrich, right?
No, exactly.
So much better, I know, like be able to sleep at night and not just have to stress and worry about things. So,
Absolutely. And if you do find yourself in a situation where you get a letter or you file a return and you have a balance owed, bringing an experienced professional on to help deal with it is going to give you a lot more peace of mind and let you be in control of the situation.
right.
So I would highly recommend that.
No, I think that, yeah, there is a great need for what you're doing, and so glad that there are people out there that love to do it like you do. So thank you for doing that. I know people say that about bookkeeping as well, right? Like it takes a
Yes,
special person. So glad we're all
ex-
unique.
exactly. We love helping people. That is the root inspiration for what we do. To be able to commit and dedicate 23 plus years experience of solely dealing with IRS and state tax debt and putting that expertise, knowledge, and experience to work for our clients is what inspires us to do it every day, because it's not easy.
Yeah.
We're walking into a situation where there's a level of aggression from the collector. There's a level of concern and anxiety from the client, the taxpayer, and trying to keep both sides calm, on focus for the end goal of a resolution can be challenging, but we love it. We love being able to call our clients at the end and saying, oh my gosh, we got it done. Here are the terms. Here's what we're going to do. This is within your budget. It is a remarkable feeling. It always gives me goosebumps.
Huge sense of satisfaction. So that brings me to another point. So if people have
Sure.
questions for you, or, would like to reach out to you, is it all right if they give you a call or email
Yeah.
you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. My direct phone number is 719-602-5451. Give me a call. You can go to our website at goldenliontaxsolutions.com. If you would, Britta, if you want to put my email in the blurb above this video, please do. We're here to help, and we can tell people, yeah, this is a situation that we would get involved with, or no, this is a pretty minor issue. Let me give you a few points on how to get it addressed. We work a lot with accountants and CPAs and bookkeepers as a collaborative team for our clients. So reaching out through bookkeepers, CPAs, accountants, and connecting with us too is another wonderful way to get everybody on the same page. We can initiate that team as well after the client contacts us. So we just want to help. We want to help and bring these situations to a solution and scare away the IRS ghouls and ghosts.
I love it. Thanks for bringing us back to Halloween, right? So
Yes,
making it
exactly.
less scary, getting them out of there. So, well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you're a wealth of information, and I hope I don't ever have to work with you, but I would be happy to know that I have you on my side. So
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. I have so many people who say to us, it's wonderful to know you, but I don't want to have to know you. If I do, though, it's great that I've got you in my back pocket.
yep,
So,
absolutely. Good to have the connection. So, well, thank you again for your time, and thanks everybody for joining us, and reach out to Morgan if you have any questions. So have a good day.